you'll probably be displeased to know that I've actually. You'll probably be displeased to know that I've practiced a speech. In fact, it's what I've been doing for the last 2 hours. Now, this is a world first for me because anytime I give a talk, I write it out and then I read it through and then I put it away and then I talk about it. But this comment on Carolyn's career is a distillation of a whole range of thinking about issues that I've been doing over time. It's a problem with retirement, is that you have too much time to think about things and you go through them. And I guess I wanted to reflect a little bit on the time that I've known Carolyn. I have to tell you that she was one of the real troublemakers amongst our students.
That's a bugger.
I can recall her racing down a corridor toward me and saying most vehemently that we needed to revise this course because it was too behavioural and it needed to take in a whole range of other perspectives, system stuff, developmental stuff, a whole range of things that we just weren't doing. I think it was the system stuff she was pushing at that time. And so, you know, there was this real troublemaker in amongst my midst. But what Carolyn did over a number of years was to recruit people to her way of thinking. I was quite an early recruit. She really impressed on me the need for change in our course and the way we did things. I admired the way she engaged with the whole practicum process and how she used the good practices that have been developed in South Australia over many years and taught our students how to engage in respectful ways with people with disabilities, and importantly the staff and the carers of people with disabilities. So Carolyn had this particular skill to be able to recruit people, to develop a common goal, to drag people with her to bring about change. And I became one of those people, but I'm not the only one. Many of you are in the room, and many are predecessors who are off having a good time somewhere else now. But in reflecting on this stuff, I realised how important Carolyn was to the development of the course and to broader development of cultural acceptance and understanding. I am in awe of Carolyn. I feel like I've contributed somewhat to her development, but I feel like she's contributed so much more to my own. She has taught people, she has engaged with people, she has encouraged inclusion and community acceptance in a practical way. Carolyn is a person who's walked the walk. I admire that because I feel like I didn't often enough. I talked the talk but didn't always walk the walk. Carolyn showed so many people how to do that. And I want to comment here about Carolyn's gender. Okay. Oh, Brian, what are you saying here? I have been really impressed by so many women in my career. I have seen so many women help to bring about change. And Carolyn is one of those women who stands out most in my mind. She's not the only one. There are so many powerful women in this room and elsewhere who've helped to form meaningful social change, who've helped to drag bureaucrats to the table and get them to see that people with disabilities, their carers, the people who work with them, have a common goal, and that is about inclusion and empowerment and equality. And the reason I'm commenting on Carolyn's gender is because I listen to too many podcasts, and I've been inundated by podcasts recently that have been undertaken by powerful women who have really brought about change in their time. And I think there is a window of opportunity there. And I don't mean that I think it's closing, I hope it's expanding. But it's women like Carolyn who will drag us men toward that window of opportunity. You mustn't think that I'm putting men's role in all of this down. Men have some powerful things that they bring to the table. But women, and I know it's a bell curve thing, I'm not denying that there aren't men who have a very feminine side in many ways, but women have a capacity for empathy and care and a focus that us men need to learn from. Carolyn, I think you're an exemplar. I think that you're a woman who is of your times and ahead of your times, and I feel so honoured that I've been one of the people who's been able to nurture and encourage that. Mind you, I did discover at one stage that I couldn't be too nurturing, because one of the things that Carolyn taught me, that my wife Barbara also has taught me, is that women don't want to be protected. And the occasion I'm talking about is when I thought I could protect Carolyn from too much bureaucracy and too many administrative roles. And though I didn't have a physical slap around the face, it felt like it for a long time.
Sorry, I apologise.
Because Carolyn stood up to me and said, no, those changes are not going to happen. I want that role. I want that responsibility. You give it to me. Holy moly. It is so remindful to me of the way in which my wife deals with me. And Carolyn and Barbara.
We were students together.
They were students together, and they're of a kind. So really, I'm not saying this is about gender. I'm just saying that Carolyn exemplifies the women in our community who have really forged ahead and have really made a difference. And I laud those efforts. And so, to stop me from saying too much more, I think I, in my ramblings, explored probably another 10 times the amount of things with many anecdotes and so on. But those of you who've had to suffer through my lectures know how what a man of few words I am, and so I'm really going to try and cut that short. But I am in real admiration of Carolyn, and I know that she'll go on to do bigger and better things. One thing I do want to say before I toast Carolyn is I'm not putting Carolyn on a pedestal. The worst thing I have ever done in my career is to put people on pedestals. They're human and they fall off. She will make mistakes. But I would like to be in the arena with Carolyn, helping her to defend the critics, metaphorically in the arena if I can't physically be there, because she is a person who does dare greatly. She is a person who's taken the bull by the horns and has moved her field ahead. And it hasn't been without help. To Carolyn and her future.
Thank you. Thank you.